All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Dion's Daily Dose. So tonight we're going to talk about the recap, and I got a couple other things that I really want to show you guys. First of all, for those who were able to make it last night, I appreciate you watching the Trump Elon conversation, I don't know, thing that they had. And after the technical issues at the beginning, whatever you want to call it, the DDoS attack, that's what Elon says. I have no reason to not believe that it was that. After that, it was both exactly what I thought it would be and not what I thought it would be. There are some wild things going on. Let me show you. We're going to get right into it. I apologize for not having the guest tonight. Unfortunately, he had emailed me today, a few hours ago, actually, and said that he was not able to come on because apparently he couldn't get it approved for whatever reason with his superiors. Because the organization, he's coming on to represent his organization, he should probably run it by the higher ups, but he failed to do that. So let me show you issue number one. Now, this actually is wild. Now, a lot of people might dismiss this as just, oh, this will never happen, right? There's no way. Remember the Trump trial. Remember that people can just make up laws. They can basically, if we think it's going to be straight, it's generally not. But let me show you why I'm so what the heck about this. So the headline of the story says, Disney wants NYU doctor allergy death suit tossed because of widower's Disney Plus subscription. So in other words, because this guy whose wife is deceased and he claims Disney is responsible, that's the allegation in the lawsuit, which we'll get into. But Disney are saying, oh no, this lawsuit should be thrown out because this guy signed up for Disney Plus and agreed to the terms of service. What? Yeah. So we've talked before about how crazy terms of service are getting and in user license agreements, EULA, all that stuff, right? Now, though, it's at a whole other level. Let me show you what I mean. Disney is trying to get a wrongful death lawsuit filed by a New York University doctor's grieving husband tossed because he signed up for the Disney Plus streaming service years earlier, court papers said. Okay, here's a name for you. I'm going to say Kanakpern Tang Swans. I'm sure I butchered that. Bereaved husband Jeffrey Piccolo is currently suing the theme park juggernaut, claiming that she suffered a fatal allergic reaction shortly after eating at a Disney Springs restaurant in Florida last October. So she went to this restaurant, ate something. Okay, pretty straightforward, right? Not so fast. Disney is now claiming the $50,000 suit should be moved out of the courts. Why? Because Piccolo agreed to arbitrate all disputes with the company when he first signed up for a 1-month trial of the Disney Plus streaming service back in 2019, court documents charge. So because this guy got a 1-month trial of Disney Plus, he said, okay, I'll try it. Remember back in 2019 when Disney Plus was like kind of decent, actually? He got a 1-month trial of it. And the company is saying, well, his wife passed away, but this shouldn't even be in the court because he got a Disney Plus trial. This is Kanakpern Sangsoon. She died after allegedly suffering a fatal allergic reaction after dining Disney Springs restaurant. Piccolo's attorneys on their part have slammed Disney's latest motion as preposterous and outrageously unreasonable. I agree with this guy's attorneys. Now, in the May 31st motion filed in Orange County, Florida, Circuit Court, Disney argued that the Disney Plus subscriber agreement Piccolo signed years earlier on his PlayStation called for any dispute, with the exception of small claims, to be, quote, resolved by individual binding arbitration. Now, that's a very, very common legalese term that they use in these contracts, right? And it's a way to escape true justice. They have you sign this this end user license agreement or terms of service or whatever, and buried in the fine print in this terms of service, it says that all claims, right, all disagreements, any dispute is going to be settled by a individual arbitration. In other words, not a regular court. Now, on its surface, this is silly and ridiculous, and there's no way that this should be a thing. But we've seen how crazy the court system is and how nuts things are getting, and this may be a problem. The company added, by the way, that Piccolo agreed to similar language when he then used the, quote, My Disney Experience app to buy tickets to visit the Epcot theme park in September of last year, a month before the ill-fated trip. Disney has argued that both agreements required Piccolo to consent to the arbitration language before purchasing the court filings claim. Piccolo's lawyers have since fired back, insisting in an August 2nd motion that Disney's argument is, quote, fatally flawed. The notion that terms agreed to by a consumer when creating a Disney Plus free trial account would forever bar that consumer's right to a jury trial in any dispute with any Disney affiliate or subsidiary is so outrageously unreasonable and unfair as to shock the judicial conscience. And this court should not enforce such an agreement, the lawyers wrote. Now, in a perfect world, that's how it would be. The judge would laugh this out of court and be like, you're a bunch of morons. But this is 2024 and insanity reigns. They also argue that Piccolo filed the wrongful death suit as, quote, the personal representative of the estate of Kanokpern Tangswan and not on behalf of himself. Now, that's another good point. He isn't suing on behalf of himself. He's suing on behalf of his wife, who passed away. Tang Swan, 42, died of a severe allergic reaction known as anaphylaxis just hours after dining at the Raglan Road Irish pub and restaurant with her husband back on October 5th, the original complaint said. The physician, who had worked at Manhattan's NYU Langone Hospital, had repeatedly stressed to wait staff that she had nut and dairy allergies when she ordered scallops. I don't see a problem there. Onion rings, okay, broccoli, and corn fritters. Okay, so nut and dairy allergy, and she ordered scallops, onion rings, broccoli, and corn fritters. Shouldn't be a problem, according to the filing. Soon after leaving the restaurant, Tang Swan started experiencing difficulty breathing and collapsed, court papers charge. Even though an EpiPen was immediately administered to her, she passed away at a local hospital, the lawsuit said. Piccolo is seeking more than $50,000 in damages under Florida's Wrongful Death Act, in addition to mental pain and suffering, loss of income, and funeral expenses. Now, it doesn't matter whether we think the restaurant's liable, Disney's liable, none of that matters. The point is, because they're going to figure that part out in court. The point is, Disney is claiming that signing up for a Disney Plus completely removes liability from all this stuff. It doesn't make any sense. It's absolutely insane for them to even bring up this argument. But again, this is 2024. There's no telling how absolutely insane things are going to get. I'm going to show you this. So, have you guys seen the absolute fawning level of media and the hatred that they're showing for Donald Trump? What do I mean by that? Let's take a look. So, as you know, last night we covered the Elon Musk Donald Trump conversation on X, which, by the way, let's see, at last count, well over 100 million views. Starting up at the top, USA Today, Trump rambles and slurs his way through the Elon Musk interview. It was an unmitigated disaster. Fox News, Kamala Harris's campaign criticizes Trump for serving self-obsessed rich guys after interview with Elon Musk. Donald Trump's lisp during Elon Musk interview raises questions. So Donald chatted with Elon, and here's the future as they see it. Losers win, incompetence rules. Musk's Trump, blah, 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 blah. Light on news, heavy on personality. At least he's consistent, Brian Tyler Cohen on Elon Musk's failed X interview. It wasn't a failed interview. If indeed there were DDoS attacks, which, again, I have no reason to doubt, and it would not surprise me. Have you guys seen, like, the level? But this is just a snapshot of the media's coverage of this massive event. Now, take a look here. And there's a whole bunch of these, but I'm just going to show you a couple, and then we're going to talk about it. So, former President Donald Trump's vow to stop taxing tips would cost the federal government up to $250 billion over 10 years, according to a nonpartisan watchdog group. Okay, so Trump, as you guys may or may not know, has said we should do away with taxation on tips, which I think is a phenomenal idea. I really do. I think it's, let's face it, people who work for tips aren't exactly rolling in it. For the most part, I'm sure there are those that work at very, very high ends, high-end upscale restaurants that make bank. I worked as a waiter when I was like, what was that, like 20? And it sucked. Tips were what you got by on. And especially now, look, back in the days of cash, right? Back in the days of cash, it was very easy. You got a cash tip. At the end of the night, you claim your tip. You claim how much you got, right? Now, in the digital age, everything is tracked. It's all on the card. It's all popping up in various computer systems all over the world. It's a lot harder to, let's say, underestimate the level of tips that you had. But that's how they framed Trump's, I think, genius idea, right? And he admits it wasn't him that came up with it. It was a server, which makes sense. Now, let's look at how they frame the other side. Vice President Kamala Harris is rolling out a new policy position, saying she'll fight to end taxes on tips for service and hospitality workers. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, when Trump does it, it's bad. When Kamala Harris does it, it's good. It's absolutely ridiculous. As an aside, in between the stories, I'm going to show you guys something because I found this very interesting. Let's see here. Let's go to. So, quick update on what's going on X. This is the document that I was looking for last night. It says here, court document reveals Brazilian Supreme Court censorship orders to X, right? The actual document that says what they want from X. And this is Mario Nawfal. Again, court document reveals Brazilian Supreme Court censorship orders to X. A newly released official document from Brazil's federal Supreme Court signed by Minister Alexandre de Moraes exposes the court's efforts to censor and control certain profiles on the X platform. The document directs the administrator of X Brazil Internet limited, I assume, to block specified profiles within 24 hours and preserve access logs, connections, and all related data from specific dates. Failure to comply with these orders could result in a daily fine of 50,000 reals, approximately $10,000 US for the platform a day. The targeted profiles, which include a pastor, a current parliamentarian, and the wife of a former parliamentarian, are allegedly linked to, quote, illegal activities. The court demands detailed information on their access records and associated data. Minister Moray, known for his role in censorship efforts under the Lula government, emphasized the need for confidentiality as the investigation continues. The document once again raises serious concerns about free speech and government overreach in Brazil, as the Supreme Court appears to be actively suppressing dissent and controlling the narrative on social media. Again, here we go, guys. Like, this is nuts. Elon says this platform is being asked to censor content in Brazil where the censorship demands require us to violate Brazilian law. That's not right. And it's not right. Yeah, here's so it looks like Elon had carried the same story. A wall of negative headlines was so predictable. They're such NPCs. All this does is drive even more people to listen to the conversation themselves and realize how much the legacy media lies to them. And this is what it's about, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't matter whether you hate Donald Trump, love Kamala, or vice versa. It doesn't matter. The point is, you can think for yourself. I can think for myself. And I'm tired of being told by the media to think this way. They used to present, and obviously it's been a while, but they used to just present the information. Unsaturated, unfiltered, here it is. Now it's, you should hate Trump. The wall of negative headlines is their spin, right? Just like the way that Time magazine, I don't know if you guys saw this absolute banger of a piece that they put out with Kamala, right? They are remaking her and deleting all of the negativity that she's been involved in. Again, doesn't matter how you feel about one or the other. All information should be available to you. Wouldn't you agree? You should be able to make an informed choice on your own. There are so many crazy things happening. Oh, give me, listen. Okay. Listen to this. Apparently this just happened too. The UAW today filed federal labor charges against Trump and Elon Musk due to something Trump said during last night's X Spaces. Let that sink in for just a minute. He said something, so they're suing him. UAW, quote, at one point, Trump and Musk were talking about workers who go on strike for better wages. Trump said if workers, quote, go on strike and you say, that's okay, you're all gone. So everyone is gone. Okay? Not everyone supports unions, man. That's just how it is. Like, yeah. And you know what? Elon had a perfect reply. The last two UAW presidents went to prison for bribery and corruption. And based on recent news, it looks like this guy will join them. All right. So let's get to what I think is a very well done thread by the Vigilant Fox. And it is all the key takeaways from last night's interview in like 5 minutes. I think it's very well done. If you guys didn't see it, this is an excellent opportunity to get caught up without having to listen to 2+ hours of interview. The interview began with Elon Musk highlighting a massive DDoS attack that disrupted the live broadcast and delayed it well past its scheduled 8 p.m. Eastern broadcast. Musk said this was a clear indication of the strong opposition to allowing President Trump's voice to be heard. Quote, this massive attack illustrates, talking about the DDoS attack, illustrates that there's a lot of opposition to people just hearing what President Trump has to say. And I would say that's accurate. There are way too many people out there who will shut down even talking. And it does not surprise me at all. There's the clip. By the way, it is at Vigilant Fox, if you want to go listen. We covered the whole thing last night, but from there, the conversation shifted to a more ominous topic. The ideal location for a sniper. Musk found it particularly interesting how Thomas Crook had chosen the most obvious spot for an assassination attempt, and nobody saw it coming. Quote, if the goal is to assassinate, what's your favorite spot? That building. That building would be number one, Musk observed, with Trump agreeing that would have been the spot. And it's true. Of all the spots, that roof that Crooks was on, and the water tower were the two best spots out there. I mean, right? Musk praised Trump for his response to an assassination attempt, noting that instead of retreating, Trump continued to fight with a defiant spirit. Your actions after that assassination attempt were inspiring, Musk told Trump, who reflected on how that day deepened his belief in God. Trump credited a famous immigration chart for turning his head and ultimately saving his life. I mean, he's not wrong that looking at that chart and showing that chart is what caused the damage to the ear versus something far, far worse. Let's see here. This is actually
your actions after that assassination attempt were inspiring. You instead of shying away from things, instead of ducking down, you were pumping your fist in the air and saying fight, fight, fight. And I think that's
fight, fight, fight.
I mean, the president of the United States represents America, and I think that is America. That is strength under fire, and
that's it exactly. Strength under fire. It was, again, doesn't matter how you feel about the man. That was probably one of the most American badass things I've ever seen. They tried to kill the president, and what did he do? He stood up, shoved his fist in the air, and said, "Fight!" Come on, man. While you're here, be sure to follow this page. The discussion then turned to policy, with Trump criticizing Harris for her hypocrisy. Trump accused Harris of stealing his no tax on tips idea, which we just talked about, while simultaneously supporting an increased IRS surveillance on people's tips. These people are fake, Trump declared, pointing out how the administration had previously hired 88,000 IRS agents to target waitresses and caddies over tips. Remember that? Only for Harris to adopt his policy when it suited her politically. Musk then issued a dire warning about the future of America if the current border policies continue. I'm not sure we've got a country if open borders persist for another 4 years, Musk warned. He's not wrong. He's absolutely right. Trump stressed that if Kamala gets into office, it would lead to 50 to 60 million people entering the country from all over the world. In the night's funniest moment, Trump quipped that Joe Biden's IQ is so low, quote, he might not even have an IQ at all. There's nothing on the board that goes this low.
And we did things and said things through this president with a low IQ, very low IQ. He had a low IQ 30 years ago, by the way, but now he might not even have a IQ at all. There's nothing on the board that goes this low. He said things that were so stupid that war had zero chance of happening if I were there.
Yeah. As the conversation continued, Musk proposed a bold plan to cut government spending, linking inflation directly to government overspending. Quote, inflation comes from government overspending because the checks never bounce when it's written by the government, Musk explained. He suggested the creation of a government efficiency commission to scrutinize and reduce unnecessary expenditures, pointing out that the national debt's interest payments have now surpassed the defense budget. Think about that for a moment. Just the interest on our national debt is now more than we spend every year on defense. All those aircraft carriers, the fighter jets, the next generation tanks, and all that stuff costs less than the interest payment on our national debt. And these people seem to be okay with it. Situation that demands immediate action. Finally, Musk addressed which before we move on, what do you guys think about a civilian oversight board for the government, right? Now, the funny thing is Congress is supposed to be doing that job. Congress is supposed to be doing the checks and balances and making sure that we're not spending a ridiculous amount of money and paying astronomical prices for things. Are they? No, we know they are absolutely failing in their jobs. Just absolutely failing. Finally, Musk addressed the issue of censorship, calling out European Commissioner Thierry Breton, I don't even know how you say the name, for trying to censor his conversation with Trump. Breton's warning, with great audience comes greater responsibility, was met with a sharp response from Musk, who shared a meme right here, telling Breton to, quote, take a big step back and literally F your own face. This was the actual post from Elon. I saw it. That's actually what I was looking for last night. To be honest, I really wanted to respond with this Tropic Thunder meme, but I would never do something so rude and irresponsible. Let's look at what Thierry Breton actually said, because maybe it's not quite as bad as they make it out to be. Oh, it's just, let's see. It looks like it's just a screenshot. It's not the actual post. Yeah. Okay. There is a risk of amplification of potentially harmful content in something in connection with events and major audiences around the world. I sent this letter. Shut up. In contrast to the censorship regimes across the world, Musk told Trump, quote, I think it's obvious that you're a believer and an advocate of free speech. Why? Quote, because during your first time as president, you were attacked relentlessly every day, often very unfairly with false attacks. And look, again, I understand some of you have this idea that Trump is the Antichrist. He's this, he's that. During his first term, he was attacked over and over and over with lies. The fake news media has still not taken responsibility for pushing outright falsehoods on you and me every day. Russia was a lie at its core, and they perpetrated it over and over and over. And have you seen CNN? Anyone, Rachel Maddow, Young Turks, anyone of these so-called journalists, I know they're not, but the last one I named, but in general, any of these networks, any of these people who go, hey, you know what? We're sorry. We got it wrong. We believed something that was untrue, but no, they doubled down every time you turn around. Russia, impeach this, impeach that, ridiculousness. Here's the important part. And you didn't try to shut down the media. You didn't try to inhibit their freedom of speech. And I think that says a lot. That's the point. If you guys remember back in Obama's term, he actually actively went after Fox News. Now, look, I'm not a big Fox News guy. I don't really like any of the mainstream media that much. But Obama tried to go after Fox News in his second term, because they were doing negative reporting on him. Trump didn't attack journalists. And if you guys, they're arresting journalists that were at the Capitol on January 6th. That's the level we've come to. It's not Trump who's being a dictator. It's the left. Guys, like, this viral conversation, which has amassed 19 hours ago over 88 million views in just 5 hours, can be listened to on replay on Donald Trump's X page. Excellent thread. I believe they did a very good job summarizing. And I think that I hope that some people out there who are maybe not convinced of 100% of the BS they're shoveled from the mainstream media organizations is true. Hopefully, there is a percentage that took the time to, if nothing else, tune in to get the highlights and then go, okay, let me take a look. I believe everyone should listen to it for themselves. Yeah, it's Trump. There's a lot there. It's Elon Musk. His brain works so fast, he has trouble catching up sometimes verbally. So there's some hemming and hawing and a little bit of stumbling. But it's a genuine conversation that it presents an unfiltered view of a conversation between two people. I hope that you'll take the time to at least check it out. I think this is an excellent thread. You get the gist of it in just a few minutes. Take the time if you haven't already. And I personally abhor this in videos, but it would really help me out if you just drop a like, follow, subscribe, whatever. We've got some interesting stuff coming up. So we're trying to work out the details, but I have a local lady who has a wealth of information about Tim Walz. And it has nothing to do with this whole military thing. They are focused on the wrong area. Why? Because yes, that thing sucks. If you look into it, it's bad. But move that aside for a moment and look at what he actually did as the governor of Minnesota. Look at the policies he's in favor of. Look at the things he tried to pass. Look at how he allowed his state to burn, holding off on calling the National Guard. There's tons of stuff there. We're going to have that for you. We're going to try to do it tomorrow night. I'm not sure if we'll be able to. For those of you in the local area, I will be, I believe, let me double check the times here. Yes. Okay. So tomorrow afternoon from, I believe, 3 to 7, I will be at the LaPorte County Republican headquarters. If you have if you have questions about candidates, if you need yard signs, if you just want to come in and chat, I will be there. And if we do tomorrow night, it'll be a little bit later because I'll have to come home from the headquarters and gear up and all of that. But hopefully we'll be able to do that. If not, if we don't get to it tomorrow, Friday night is date night. So it'll be a pre-recorded video on Friday. I'm sorry. That's just how it is. My wife has insisted that we have a date night. I have been putting a lot of energy and effort into the show, and she's like, pay attention to me. So I'm going to. That's what's going on, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys are having a good day and a good week in general. I am going to try very, very hard to get some shorter form content put out there for you, like YouTube shorts, etc. I'm not very good at video editing. I'm trying to pick it up. I'm trying to learn it, but I'm not the one. However, I have a couple people that I'm talking to that may be coming on board to assist. And if that works out, then hopefully we can expect a lot more cranking out. I hope you guys had a great evening and join us. Like I said, tomorrow night, if we don't get this individual on to share the information that she has, then it'll be a pre-recorded video. Either way, there'll be something for you guys to watch tomorrow night. Friday night will be for sure a pre-recorded, and then we'll take it from there. Like I said, we have a lot of stuff behind the scenes. You guys don't really see the behind the scenes stuff, but that's where we're at. I hope that you found this interesting. I would really, really advise keeping an eye on this Disney lawsuit. I know it seems silly. It really does. It's nuts, right? It's from New York Post. Disney wants NYU doctor allergy death suit tossed because of widower's Disney Plus subscription. It sounds just as ridiculous as it is. But with our court system being as compromised as it is, if this goes through, if the judge allows this argument, it sets precedent, guys. That's one thing about the American justice system, the American legal system, is once a judge goes, oh yeah, that's good, it sets precedent. And a lot of judges, lawyers don't want to touch it after that. They'll just, oh, it's already set. It's already set. And so they'll rule the same way. This has the potential of really, really being a major negative for we the people, regular people. It's going to give all the power to the corporations, and then we're not even going to be able to get justice no matter what happens. I'm hoping that that's not how it goes down. I'm really hoping that whoever the judge is in this case, I'm really hoping that they have a sense, a degree of common sense. But we've seen how these judges are. Especially look at the dipshit doing the Trump one. I mean, they exist. They're out there, and oh boy. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have a wonderful evening, and I will talk to you again very, very soon. We went to the range a few days ago, and I've got to clean my guns, man. I have to. So I hope you have a wonderful evening, and I will see you again very, very soon. Without further ado, God bless you, God bless Indiana, and God bless the United States of America. Good night.